very spiritual for me. Like music moves me in ways that nothing else really does. Not watching a movie, not like music can bring me to tears. The right guy playing it in the right moment, yeah, I can be moved to tears with music. That's how it is for me. My name is Eric Martin Bureau, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about all my influences and the things that helped me along the way to become a musician, and some of the things that I like to do. So stay tuned. First, it's a family thing. My grandfather played, and he played every instrument. Like, you pick up an instrument, figure out where the notes were, and play it. That's how he was. But myself, he lived in Quebec. We lived here in Alberta, so I didn't really get to see him except for when we visited him. So I never really got to learn all the old Quebec folk songs or any of that kind of stuff, which I wish I knew, right? Because some of them are funny as hell, right? But I don't know them all. So like when I first picked up a guitar my brother went to a pawn shop. Like the year before, I was at a party and somebody, you want to play a guitar? You want to try it out? And I'm like, no, I can't play. And I was 14, 15 years old. And then my brother went to a pawn shop, picked a real piece of crap up for $100. And he'd take the guitar and plug it in and do his thing and try and learn. And then he would hide the chords so I couldn't figure out or nothing. And we had a neighbor that lived beside us that played guitar. But when he put a guitar in his hands, it was the naturalest thing he could do. So my brother would hide the chords so I couldn't check it out. So my dad had this old guitar that would be if my grandfather or my uncle would come by from Quebec. So the guitar is sitting up there with broken pegs, so you had to tune it with vice grip. And this neighbor of mine had a 12-string that he converted into a 6-string, had extra tuning heads. He gave me those. I glued the back of the guitar and put those tuning heads in. Then I took it back to him. He said, okay, I got it done. So he took the guitar, strung it up for me, showed me how to string the guitar for the first time, showed me how to tune, and showed me what to listen for tuning. And then from there on, a week later, because I was so interested in what do you need to listen for to be able to know the notes are right together. And he showed me that. Within a week, I was tuning my guitar by ear, and I used a tuning fork to tune my guitar for 10 years of my playing, right? Because usually I was either in a garage or in anything like that. He showed me some exercises. He gave me this guitar improvisational book that I still have. I started single notes everywhere, practicing. 6 hours a day at the beginning is what happened. I was for a year. I did that for a year, and then I moved. I was living in Cochrane at the time, and then I found a guy in Calgary. His name was Chris Bullen. Unbelievable guitar player. He still is. Still unbelievable. He's actually signed with Steve Vai's record label right now. And so I found this guy, and I was only able to take guitar lessons for 9 months because I had to move from Cochrane, away from Calgary, to here, to Athabasca. And there's no one around for quite a ways around that plays or played or anything like that. So the 9 months of lessons I got from Chris, I did everything I possibly could to learn everything. I read everything he gave me. I read it all, learned it. I still wasn't getting it. So what I did is I took one key, wrote it all out, then wrote out all the chords for each key, then took a chord chart for each chord in that key. And then I started to go ahead and do that for all 12 keys. As I was doing that, it finally clicked in of what was going on, and then that's when I had that light come on, and so I had about six keys in. That's when I stopped because I had it figured out. I figured it out from writing it out, and that's only the beginning of understanding the theory and how everything is related to the major scale and all that kind of stuff. So that's what what happened with that. I like such a wide range of music. If it sounds right and good, I like it. If it sounds like crap, well then I don't like it. That's it. That's simple with music. But my biggest influences was obviously Chris, as being my first mentor in learning guitar. But when I seen Crossroads for the first time, Steve Vai was the guy, right? Steve Vai. And then I learned, do you know who taught Steve Vai? Joe Satriani. Oh, and then there's Joe Satriani came into, and the funny thing is, I was like waiting to get the Passion Warfare album, and it's harder to find Steve Vai in any record store, even if you go now. It's harder to find Steve Vai than it is Joe Satriani. He goes, see, you find Joe Satriani right away. And the thing is that's what happened to me. I learned about Joe Satriani, and so I was like, I'll go buy an album. And I found Flying in a Blue Dream. Well, and that was it. I wanted to learn to play like those guys, right? Because before I started playing guitar, I was into country and I was stuff like that. But then when the guitar came, and going back to the story with my brother, at first I heard Jimmy Page. I heard the guitar sound of the Led Zeppelin, and I was like, how do you make the guitar sound like that? Because he just had a clean amp. And I didn't understand there was actually pedals or anything that you plug into to make the sound that those guys were making, or crank up the amp. Dimebag came into the play, and I just loved Pantera, and I loved the way Dimebag played. And then, I love bands like Carcass and Slayer, and I love Eric Johnson. There's so many players, and I like them all. I like to have lots of texture. So that's why I have two overdrives and a distortion. I'll add as I need. So I'll go the two overdrives, or just the one overdrive, or just clean tone, or I'll put some distortion, and everything runs through the distortion to the amp. If you're using the drive of the amp, I like to use the pedals but turn down the drives on the pedals. Right now, the amps that I'm using for this gig is the Hot Rod Deluxes, but I use Randalls most of the time. I use the Diablos, and then they have the RH 100s, the first tube amps that they kind of came out with the blue lighting, and their 100-watt heads. Those are great. When you got the space and those sound awesome. They give you lots of clarity through your distortion. You can hear all the notes in the chords. It's not funny. It's awesome. It's awesome. Myself as a player, I never really had a band that was doing anything except for this band that I'm in now, Midlife Crisis, that did anything outside the basement. lots of writing and lots of just playing in the basement or in the garage or whatever, but never no band that went outside of that to play in bars per se or anything like that. And then I found these guys and started playing bars, cover tunes. It's not that I wasn't interested in writing music, it's just that this was fun and it was good to entertain people. I get to host a weekly jam at a bar up in Fort McMurray that allows me to play with all these players all the time. So I'm very fortunate that way. I went from playing in the basement and not being able to really get out when I wanted to be out there playing like crazy to now hosting a weekly jam and getting to play with everybody. That's, to me, is just awesome. If I go out of town anywhere, say I go to BC or Calgary or anywhere, I try to find a jam session to go and put myself out of my element, where it's people I don't know. Or when I go to Calgary and I go strictly to a country jam. They're set up country and it's country music. I get up and play whole sets. I have songs I don't even know. What makes a good jam session is when everything just sounds right. All the mix is right. All the players are doing it's that motion. Once it's in motion, the way it sounds, the feel it creates is so intense sometimes. And then once you're done and you get that roar of the crowd, especially if it's a jam something you just made up right there on the spot that's never to be recorded, never to be heard again, and the crowd goes crazy. I love that. Balancing music and life is probably one of the hardest things to do, because I'd love to be doing music full time. Teaching, playing, endorsing amps or pedals, and stuff like that. The G4 experience that I went to this summer put me in a position where I actually could do that, right? So I got to meet some really, really great people in New York. It was awesome. The trip in New York was one of the best experiences I ever went to. Okay, well, when I sit down and practice, I do regimentally. I'm regimental type practicer. I'm not a noodler, but I am in some sense too, right? But mostly I'll sit down, I'll turn my metronome on and go through drills and go through finger and pick exercises and all that kind of stuff. And then I'll noodle. But mostly it's always strict regimentally type practice. But I also like doing jamming the jam tracks. It depends on how much time I got. If I got lots of time to practice, I do more regimentally. Lately, I've been lucky and I get to practice about an hour to 2 hours a night. I get to, right? If I'm not playing. And if I'm playing, then I play 3 hours or more a night. I read. I'm taking lessons again after 20 years. After 20 years of playing, I'm back taking lessons from Doug Doppler, from one of Joe Satriani's students, which is one of the most amazing things. I've only had 3 lessons and it's just amazing. He opened the door last night. It was always there. Something that I practiced, but never really realized what I was doing. Till it was explained. Well, the advice I'd give to somebody that's just starting or wanting to to get into music or play guitar or play anything you want is how badly do you want it. If you really want it badly, there's nothing that can stop anybody from playing. What I tell students or people, the difference between you and me is about 10,000 hours of practice. And that's it. There's nothing special about what I do or how I do it. It's just that I love to do it. So if you're gonna go ahead and do it, love it, and love it with all you got. If you want it, it will happen. There's no way you can't get any better by just sitting there not doing it. Like if you're doing it, there's no way you can't get better. There's no way. So if you guys like this video, be sure to click the like button over here and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you guys later. Oh shit.